Hello, you guys. Welcome back to the Chat Lounge podcast. We're back, and it's just me. So I'm a little nervous because it's just me. I don't have Shy next to me discussing all of this stuff with us. So today, if you couldn't tell by my Scream shirt, today we're doing paranormal horror type stories, plus personal experiences of my own. So welcome to episode 1 of the Chat Lounge podcast. Woo! This video is getting released, the episode is getting released about a week or two after Halloween. Only because I wanted the first episode to be on a day that I could do it. So welcome to November 11th, 2025. This is the Halloween episode, late Halloween episode, but it's whatever. Let's go ahead and get started, shall we? First Reddit. All of these Reddit stories, by the way, are from the paranormal Reddit thread. I was trying to search for different threads on Reddit, and it just was not working out very well. There were some stories that I was like, oh, that's interesting, and I was like, never mind, because I kind of skim the first paragraph or two to see if it's interesting enough, and they just weren't really that interesting to me. I wanted hardcore bone chilling, spine tingling type of stories. So with that said, we're gonna go ahead and get started. This one says, has anybody had anything similar happen? Okay, very ominous. Let's get into it some more. About 10 years ago, when I was around 15, I had something happen that I can't explain. I was home alone at night with my dog, sitting in the living room watching TV. It was very dark outside, and the only lights on in the house were the hallway lights outside of the living room. Okay. Living room, hallway. Got it. I had to visualize. Suddenly, I heard my dog growling from the top of the stairs. She never growled like that, so I got up to see what was going on. When I reached her, all the fur along her back was standing up, and she was staring down the staircase like she was terrified of something. To the basement? Because if you're in the living room, there are some houses that have a living room upstairs. I've lived in one before. But it sounds like she's downstairs in the living room, and it's the dog's, the dog is growling down the stairs to a basement or something. I don't know. When I looked, I swear I saw a black figure, like a shadow or a human-shaped silhouette. It didn't look solid or like a person standing there, more like a dark distortion in the shape of one. I only had a couple of seconds to register it before the entire house went pitch black. Every light cut out instantly. Whoa. No, thank you. No, thank you. If all the light, you had one light on and it was the hallway, and the fact that that light turned off immediately is terrifying. I'd pack up, girl. Pack up and get out. Pack up and get out now. I stumbled back and started seeing what looked like faces flashing in front of my eyes. Maybe it was the sudden darkness and panic messing with me, but at the time it felt very real. In a panic, me and my dog ran into my bedroom. I tried to switch on the lights, but it wasn't working, so I kind of fell onto my bed in fear, holding onto my dog, hoping she would protect me. But I don't know if she sensed my fear and it freaked her out, or if she was reacting to the same thing as me, but she was trembling as if she was terrified. Whoa. Lights don't work. You see faces coming at you from nowhere. That seems pretty terrifying. Then the part that freaks me out the most, I had the full-length mirror on the opposite side of my room firmly hung on the wall. Out of nowhere, it somehow came off the wall and hit me in the back, smashing into pieces from the force of it hitting my back. This wasn't a mirror leaning somewhere. It was hung up across the room. It felt like something had literally lifted it and thrown it at me with force. Whoa. A mirror hung on a wall, a full-length mirror hung on a wall, got taken off the wall and thrown at you from across the room. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Oops. Let me see. This was the moment I completely lost it. I grabbed my dog and bolted outside into the garden. I called my mom. See, she's from England because it's spelled M-U-M. That's England, period. And sat outside terrified until she came home. When she got back, she walked inside, flicked the hallway lights on, and they worked perfectly like nothing had happened. That ghost is full on, like, gaslighting you. 100% gaslighting you. This is the only experience like this I've ever had. I've tried for years to rationalize it. Blackout, panic, imagination. But that doesn't explain the mirror coming off the wall from across the room. I still remember every second vividly. Has anyone experienced something like this or have an idea what could have happened? I've only seen, like, from my own personal experience, related to the story, I've only really seen the shadow figure go up the stairs, but, like, it wasn't, like, negative. I mean, I can't really tell if it was a negative or a positive because it's a shadow, but it was just going upstairs and then it just disappeared. I never really saw it again after that, but it was just, that's very strange. To, like, you see it down the stairs, all the lights turn off, and, like, a mirror hits you in the back from across the room. Like, that's not normal. Let me see. Okay, perfect. Because I remember the old times. I'm going to read 3 comments from the Reddit. Usually after the 3 comments we would, like, discuss, but because it's just me, I'm kind of just wedging things in there. Let's see. One comment says, "That's so wild, I would have totally freaked out. Were you looking down the stairs into the basement, or is your living room and bedroom upstairs? I'm trying to get an idea of the layout if perhaps your breaker box or electricity was located in the basement." So I want to say, okay, so it's OP says, "No, so basically my living room is downstairs. My dog was at the top of the stairs laying down. I heard her make a noise, and if I'm being honest, I can't remember if she was growling or whimpering. Thinking about it now, she might have been whimpering. So obviously I walked out of the living room and walked right past where I saw this thing standing to go up the stairs. I went up, sat next to her at the top, comforting her, seeing what was wrong when I noticed she was staring down the stairs at something. That's when I looked and saw this shadow person," she put some quotations, "as it was at the bottom, standing face on like it was stood there staring at me. At first I wasn't scared, I was more confused and my brain was trying to understand what I was seeing. It was a weird sensation, like my brain couldn't comprehend what I was looking at. I say at first it was probably about 5 seconds. Then a sudden rush of adrenaline, like my body was going into fight or flight. Then the lights suddenly cut out, and that's when I truly started being terrified." And then someone else underneath OP's comment says, "The best thing is you didn't leave your pet alone. You grabbed and took her into wherever you went, to your bedroom or garden." Okay, so glad someone else asked the same question as me of layout wise. So living room is downstairs. Her dog was at the top of the stairs going upstairs to the bedrooms. Dog was whining, I guess. She went to go comfort the dog, looked down. This thing was like standing right there as she walked right past it to go up the stairs. Girl, I could never. Absolutely not. No, thank you. So that's gonna do it for that story. That's very strange. Like, you walked right past this thing and it just, the second you got up the stairs though is when it's like, I'm gonna make my presence known, and you're like, but why now? How come you didn't do it beforehand? Again, from the paranormal Reddit thread, this one says, "My husband's strange encounter ... Like, I only really checked like the title of it, and then I skimmed some of it and I went, perfect, sounds great to me. Oh, and this one's really long, so bear with me. At 1:52 a.m. my phone rings. It's my husband. He already texted me letting me know he was on his way home from work. Worried that something was wrong, I answer. Me. Hey babe, you okay? Him. Silence. Me. Babe. Him. Can you hear me? Me. I can hear you now. Are you okay? Him. I don't know what just happened. I'm almost home, but I saw something. I'm about to lose service. Be waiting on me, please. Okay, that was the phone call. I get out of bed and stand at the front door waiting to see his headlights come down our long driveway. He gets in the door with a shocked look on his face. This is what he said. I saw these things, these tall white things. A tall white woman with two other tall white people, not white like skin color, snow white. They were standing out by the abandoned train tracks on X Road. The woman had what my brain could only compare to a trash bag with a light. I know that's not what it was, but it's what it reminded me of. When I saw them, they noticed me too. I got this feeling, I can't explain it, but I just needed to get out of there. An unease came over me. I'm not sure what they were, but it wasn't right. They're not humans. Whoa. A tall white woman with other tall, like, white people, but not skin color, like this guy saw multiple ghosts or something? That's very strange. Okay, moving on. I started reheating his dinner and then it hit me. This automatically made me think of the tall whites. What? Made you think of the tall whites? What does that mean? I googled tall whites and I asked my husband if any of the photos were comparable. He scrolled to one image and said, yes, this is close. The next morning we decided to go back to where he saw them, and there was a black mark on the ground like something scorched the earth. Even more puzzling is that it had lightly rained the night before. It was raining when he saw them? Interesting. Nobody lives in the area where he saw them. It's just an old one-lane road that connects two larger roads and crosses the abandoned railroad tracks. We also live in the outskirts of a very tiny little town. It's likely that anyone was this far out making a fire directly next to the road and tracks. As we were walking towards, first this person put walking with IMG, not ING, but it's okay. People, if they're in a panic, they type fast. I'm not mad. As we were walking towards the car, an old man in a beat up old Ford pulls up beside us. He says, hey, what are y'all up to? Neither of us recognized him. We just nodded and said, we're looking for something. Is there a car in the way? He puts the truck in park and gets out. He says, no, y'all are fine. Did you kids see something interesting? My husband said, I saw something out here the other night on my way home from work. Not sure what it was, though. The old man says, is that right? I live over that way. Have all my life, as he points to the highway. Oh, okay. An awkward silence falls over us for a few seconds as we're walking to the car. He says, y'all believe in aliens? My husband and I both look at each other. I say, yes, actually we do. He goes on to tell us that he and his late wife experienced a lot of strange occurrences out there over the years. He said the scorch marks was from them, in quotations, and asked if we'd ever seen anything in the sky that was unidentifiable. My husband showed him a video that was taken a couple months back from a UFO over our house. He invited us over to his house, saying that he had some images he'd like to show us. It may not have been the best decision, but we agreed. My husband was carrying his permits, so I wasn't too worried. These people definitely live in the States. We followed him to an old farmhouse. He said his grandparents built the house in the 1800s and all of them had seen and experienced things on/around the property. He goes to a little garage/shack and retrieves some old Polaroid photos. All 5 photos pictured your classic flying saucer. My father took these. He said there's more in the house somewhere. He goes on to tell us that he's not exactly sure where they come from or why they're here, but he knows there's different species and different kind of craft. I'd like to think we gained a friend, but I'm not 100% sure what my husband encountered. I thought we'd share the story here. Whoa. Hang on. I'm trying to find a good comment, but all these comments are long. Absolutely. That's way too long. Okay, we're gonna go with these ones. That's very strange. The whole gun permit thing. I was like, they're definitely living in like Texas or, you know, somewhere where you can just carry a gun around. Here in the United States. Interesting. Aliens though? I don't, I'm not sure, like, how that correlates, but that's just me. That's just me. Some comments. Maybe I should read this giant one because this is all one. This is all one comment, and it's just like a little bit shorter than the actual story itself that I just read. I'm just gonna skip those. I so wish he had one of those dash cams that records video while as driving. Would be interesting to see pics / vids of what he saw. OP said he bought one on Sunday and installed it just in case he ever encounters something again. Someone else said, keep in mind, if you see them, it's only because they let you see them. And then the original commenter about the dash cam said, cool, please share the vids if he has another encounter. Interesting. All right, so at least he has a dash cam now, so he can see anything that happens while he's driving, and that way he doesn't look crazy. It's on a camera that he can't like fabricate in any way. I personally have never had any experiences with aliens. I mean, I live in the state where Area 15 is, so I mean, you never know. I might just one day. I don't know. I haven't seen him yet though. But yeah, no. If I ever experience something like that, I'm honestly gonna think that I'm just crazy and put myself into a mental asylum. That's just, I'm gonna think that I'm just nuts and just be like, nope, I'm good. I'm just gonna move on. It's fine. On to our last story. Like I said, all from Paranormal Reddit thread. Our last story. Here we go. And it's pretty long too. Not as long as the last one, but it is pretty long, so bear with me. This one says, my experience with a medium that knew something about a woman I was super close to that I didn't even know. Okay, we're just gonna get right into it. Years ago, back in 2012, I had a friend, let's call him Aaron, for the sake of this story, and to stay mostly anonymous. I knew him through racing motocross and was semi-close to him. Not super close though, so we didn't really know a ton of things about each other, especially things about our childhood or upbringing. We also didn't have many mutual friends other than people that we were in the same friends circle from racing motocross. Okay. One evening, completely out of the blue, I got a call from Aaron. We hadn't talked for months. He told me that this was going to sound insane, but he has a coworker, let's call her Kathy, that approached him and asked him who this insert my first name girl is. I don't have a super common first name. He told her, I do know insert my first name. Why? She told him there was a woman that keeps approaching her to tell her that she has a message for this girl and that Aaron knows her. He goes on to tell me that this lady was supposedly a medium and that she may or may not be crazy and claims that spirits communicate with her. He told me that Kathy wanted to meet me so she could give me this message. He definitely thought it was odd since he never once mentioned me to her. Okay, so this is just a coworker of this guy who just so happens to be a medium and says, oh, do you know this person? Oh, there's a message for her from somebody dead. That's very strange. Like, no. I told him that I'll be willing to meet with her and receive this message. I'm a believer in spirits and mediums. My sister is a medium and we're kind of estranged at that time. So I figured I'd go ahead and meet this Kathy lady with him and see what she has to say. All right, at least she went to go see what she had to say. Aaron picked me up after work the next day and drove me to Kathy's house. He was friends with her from work, but wasn't super close with her. He had just been to a few get-togethers at her house. She lived about a 30-minute drive from where I was living. When I met her, she seemed like a totally normal person. She was married and had a couple of kids, probably about 40 years old. We did have some brief chatting, and then this was led inside into her living room. We pretty much got right into it. I asked her what this mysterious lady had to tell me and who she was. Kathy told me that the lady never had her own kids, although she raised many of them and thought of them as her own. She told me that she told me I was one of those kids and that I was very special to her. I thought in my head, this sounds like this could maybe be my old daycare lady. Let's call her Cindy. She passed away a few years prior and I was super close to her. She was like family to me and basically did help raise me in a way since I was in her care until I was 10 years old. We stayed close up until she passed away from cancer. I visited her the day before she died in hospice. Oh, that's really sad. That's really nice. I go on to asking Kathy what this lady looked like. She said she was a large woman and had one blue eye, one brown eye. Right when she said that, I was like, holy crap, that does sound like Cindy. Cindy had one blue eye and one brown eye. It's such an old and random thing for someone to be able to just simply guess. Keep in mind, during this whole conversation, I didn't give any information to Kathy about Cindy, and I also didn't lead her into don't mind me. I also didn't lead her onto whether or not she was telling me is relevant to me or not. Kathy goes on with various details about this lady that sounds just like Cindy, where it was kind of freaking me out. I decide to ask Kathy what the name of this lady is to see if she was real or not. Kathy pauses for a moment and then tells me her name is Loretta. That's where she kind of loses me at this point, because Cindy was definitely not named Loretta. Kathy goes on to tell me the message from Loretta. It's somewhat stereotypical type messaging about Loretta that just wants me to know that she picked is okay and happy, and that she is with me a lot of the time to keep tabs on me since I was very special to her. Also, if I feel a presence or hear weird sounds, to not be scared because it's probably her. We hung out for a little bit longer, and then Aaron and I left. All night and the next day, this encounter was so heavy on my mind. This Loretta lady sounded just like Cindy, and how the heck did Kathy guess that one of her eyes was blue and the other brown? It was bothering me so much that I ended up telling my mom about the whole thing. She completely froze and when she told her that Kathy told me this lady's name was Loretta, my mom goes on to tell me that I obviously didn't know, but Cindy's actual birth name was Loretta. She just went by Cindy because it was her middle name, and she liked it better. I was definitely shocked. To this day, when I hear unexplainable sounds or feel the presence of someone around me, I casually say, "Hi Cindy, I know it's you. Thanks for stopping by to visit." Aw, that's so sweet. It's the fact that she's like, I don't know like a Loretta. Who's Loretta? And then to find out that Cindy's actual birth name is Loretta. That's so cool. She's like, I don't know Loretta, but you do. You just didn't know that it was the same person. Some comments. That's crazy. It's also strange. Why go to all that trouble to get a hold of you in a roundabout way to give such a generic message? The skeptical side of me wonders, is this woman a commercial medium? She was hoping to hook you as a client? Someone else said all the information she had was a physical description and a first name. She couldn't have gotten all of the information from a single picture on social media, which is true. The OP said, my daycare lady wasn't on social media and there wasn't a single picture that exists of her on there either. Also, Aaron didn't have social media, and I did, but wasn't friends with Kathy. To this day, the only picture that exists of Cindy online is her obituary, and it's black and white photo from when she was probably 20. You wouldn't recognize her, and you couldn't really tell in it her eyes were her different eye colors. Geez, these people don't know how to form a proper sentence. Also, her obituary was using her Cindy name. I confirmed with her niece after all of this that her birth name was Loretta. Kathy also told me lots of things about Cindy other than her name and physical description. But she just put in that she was, she just put in the story what the medium said, like height, weight, eye color, name, that kind of thing. That's really, really interesting. I've never experienced anything with a medium before. So I'm not quite sure like what to say to that. Because I've never really experienced anything with mediums. I would love to one day though. I would love to know who's been following me around. Kind of to fill in a little bit of time here. I'm not currently anymore, not sure what changed, but I was somewhat of a medium, you could say, I guess. I just couldn't talk to spirits, but I could see spirits. It was very strange. Kind of like Ghost Whisperer, the show, but without physically being able to talk to them, I could just see them. Which is very strange, and it was very surreal. I would always see my grandma a lot. I would see my great-grandparents a lot from both my mom and my dad's side. Very, very strange occurrences with my family. But yeah, there was one time, I'll share a quick story. We went to New York, which is where both of my dad's parents are from. And we went to go visit the tombstone of my great-grandparents on my grandpa's side, so my grandpa's parents. And it was very surreal and it was very strange because I got very emotional and very overwhelmed, like kind of standing there. And I looked up because their tombstone is in the grass, right? And we're kind of standing all around it. Like, you know, people are praying, like my family were praying and, you know, we were doing our own thing. And I looked up because I felt overwhelmed, like I was being watched. And I looked up and sure enough, standing like across from me. So if I'm here and the grave is here, like on the grass and I'm like kind of in front of it where I could read it, on the other side, like across from me on the tombs, like where the tombstone is, if they're reading it backwards, were my grandparents, like my great-grandparents. And it was so surreal to see them because I never got to meet them. They were already passed on by the time, like way before I was born. So it was very surreal to like see them kind of standing like right there next to me. And I kind of pretended like I didn't notice. Like I did notice, but I didn't want my family to think that I was crazy. Which if any of my family members are watching this, I am crazy. But, and then we were in New York still, we were at my aunt's house. And she kind of lives in the middle of nowhere. And we were celebrating, I believe it was a wedding anniversary of theirs. I don't remember. It's like a birthday, wedding anniversary. I think it was wedding anniversary. But it was like a reunion. So we all gathered there. And as my grandpa was introducing himself and his kids and like us as the grandkids, because all of his siblings were there and all of their kids and their grandkids were there, and it was really cool. As he's introducing us, I turn around because I'm sitting like on a bench almost. And I turn around to look at my grandfather who's talking because he's the eldest. And I turn around and I'm like, oh shit. And it was his dad kind of like standing, not next to him, but like nearby. And I was like, wow, like this is so nice to like see my great-grandparents who I never got to meet. And then with my grandma, she's my grandma. She's my stepdad's mom. It's kind of sad. We only knew her for about a year. And then she passed away of cancer. And it was very surreal to like be involved in someone's life and have another grandparent to love and take care of you kind of thing. And just to have her gone, like after a year of knowing her. But I still see her to this day. She's pretty much the only person that I see. Don't mind my cats if you can hear them. They're just being mischievous as always. But I still see her to this day. And it's so fun and so surreal to see her because she knows that I can see her. Because I've talked to her before, when it was just me in a room. But she's usually like at my mom's house during Thanksgiving because that was like her favorite holiday. Like that was her thing. But yeah, it was just so surreal Like I see her every Thanksgiving, I see her every Christmas. Like, it's really nice. But she travels. Obviously, she has 3 boys, so she travels from each of us, and we all kind of live separate, which is really nice. So that's gonna do it for this episode. I can't remember what the next episode is. I pretty much have like the next year of videos and stuff planned out already. So I don't remember what next week is, but it'll be up and running by the end of today. So thank you all for joining me at the chat lounge. I will see you again next week. Bye.